South Africa are in full control on the second test. Oh, what am I saying? First test against Zimbabwe. Jumping the gun a bit. I do feel that this game is dragging a bit. So I don't know how I'm feeling about this test match. It's not the most exciting test match from a South African perspective. I think from a neutral perspective, in a way, it's a good contest though, and I think it's a good contest between two teams. But I'm not really like excited and by the edge of my seat while I'm watching this game. But that doesn't matter because I should be happy that South Africa are in control on day two of the first test against Zimbabwe. We are really playing good test cricket all around. And that is something that is very important when we come to think of the way South Africa are approaching this game, etc. But I'm very, very happy with the way things are unfolding. Bar maybe one or two things that we will get to talking on this show. But before we get going, before I get started, there are a couple of things I'd love you guys to please do. First and foremost, subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell for all future videos. Smash the like button, comment, and share. It's important that you get into the comment section after we've ended the stream so that this can spread far and wide in the YouTube algorithm and we can get a lot more views on our videos. Please, guys, you can help us out there by doing so. So, without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Looking forward to discussing the day's play with you guys. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your review show. I'm your host, Khalid Mohideen, and this is the show where we talk about everything that happens on day two of the first test between Zimbabwe and South Africa. South Africa are in full control. I must say that that's exactly what it is, and that's how it is. And we are going to be discussing that on today's show, everything that took place on the day. It's been a complete domination from a South African standpoint. There's no other way to put that because South Africa are completely in the lead here. I will give you the thought processes of what happened today, but ultimately, what took place is South Africa declared overnight. So 418 for 9, they declared overnight and went into bowl today. And I think it was a brilliant start from a South African standpoint, particularly for the debutant Cody Yusuf. Only, I think, 4 balls into his first ever test match, he gets the wicket of Caetano for a duck. And that's put South Africa into a good flow. And then it wasn't so long after that that we struck again and Zimbabwe were in a little bit of trouble. Basically, the similar type of start from a Zimbabwe's perspective, like South Africa started. They were 23 for 2 when Nick Walsh was dismissed, and that was a brilliant over or brilliant spell from Cody Yusuf, who took both wickets. But then Zimbabwe recovered extremely well, I feel, and they got themselves back into the match. And it was largely because of Sean Williams. Because after Bennett, who was batting really well, got struck on the helmet by Quena Maphaka, seems he strikes people on the helmet more than he actually takes wickets at the moment. But I feel that there's a lot behind that we can speak about. There's a lot more in-depth things to talk about with regards to that and why that's the case. But he was concussed. And he had to go off and he got a replacement, of course, that came onto the field. Madevere, I think that's how you pronounce it, Madevere. He came in as a replacement, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Or was it? No, it was. Yeah, I think so. And he came in as a replacement. There was a replacement batter for Bennett. And then they kind of recovered quite well, I feel. I mean, even though we struck again a little bit later, and it was about that changed the game a little bit to South Africa. I thought it would, but it didn't. I mean, it was 28 for three essentially at that point, but not really because Bennett was retired hurt. But I thought that would change the game in South Africa's favor. You know, your new batter coming in, but Craig Irvine and Sean Williams were brilliant. They put on a decent partnership. They took the Zimbabwe, they took their team over the 100-run mark, and it was a brilliant performance from both of them. But then after tea, uh, Maharaj struck, and it was brilliant from him because that was his 200th wicket, first ever South African spinner to go to 200 wickets. So fantastic from Maharaj. Congratulations to Maharaj for a brilliant career and for taking the wicket of Irvine, which kind of put South Africa back into the driving seat. But Irvine wicket didn't necessarily just cause a sudden collapse because Williams continues to go on and score runs after runs and actually ended up with 137, as you can see over here. Even though we did strike, I mean, Vian Mulder was brilliant today. Um, he took the wicket of Wesley Madevere, and yeah, for 15, and it was LBW shout. And I was surprised. Okay, it looked plumb, obviously, but it's very seldom that an umpire gives a LBW out, especially when there's no DRS. So yeah, but we got that one, and Mulder was now in the wickets, and he kind of was the destroyer for South Africa towards the end of the innings. He dismissed Masvore, he dismissed Tsiga, um, and he dismissed Muzarabani, and he ended up with 4 for 50 in his overs. It was brilliant. 4 for 50 in 16 overs, an economy of 3.12. Brilliant to match Cody Yusuf's 3 for 42. And although Maharaj was expensive, he did take 3 wickets. He ended up with 3 for 70. And South Africa decided not to enforce the follow on. They decided to go bat again, and yeah, it didn't start in the best ways for South Africa because we actually lost an early wicket in Matthew Beretsky. He guided a delivery over here, and it was straight to Gully. Pushed at the delivery hard, which I felt that he should have learned from his first innings. Like playing with hard hands on this pitch wasn't maybe a good idea. Playing with softer hands might have been a better option. And yeah, it wasn't the best of innings for Matthew Breskin. And it's very sad for me because I was really hoping that this innings he would step up and he would perform and show us, his talent. But at the end of the day, it was Tony Dezorzi, Vian Mulder playing cautiously and playing well, and as they should, as a top order batters of this team. Tony's on 22 of 25, and Vian Mulder's on 25 of 47. They took the score to 49 for 1 in 13 overs, and South Africa lead by 216. So we are in full control in this match. There's no other way to put it. There's not much else to say with regards to that. South Africa are in prime position now to take a proper lead, and actually end up winning this match. So that's my little review of it. Let me get into the live chat. Arjun says, miss him hard. He's talking about Bjorn Fortuin. Yeah, I miss him too. Sam says, that's why Vian Mulder is such a crucial member of the Proteas side. He's looking so good at 3, and he looked like he worked hard on his technique for 3. Sam says, Khalid, bro, can you upload Shukri press release for White Ball squad announcement? The press release is on cricketfanaticsmate.com. If you're asking for the press conference, we weren't given a video for it, so I can't upload it because there is no video for it. There's only an audio file. Tabo says, I'm happy that we're dominating, says Tabo says. I'm also happy that we're dominating. But at the same time, because this match doesn't count for WTC points, I was actually hoping that we will get more of an exciting, closer game. But you can't pick and choose. You want South Africa to dominate. We just came off a World Test Championship final. We need to play like we're world champions, and that's what we're doing at the moment. We are playing dominant cricket. We are bowling ruthlessly, and it's so great to see so many new bowlers come through, like Cody Yusuf, for example, um, and seeing him perform, because he's been doing really well domestically, and he's now gotten his call up, and he's proven that he deserves his call up by the way he bowled. Because I loved the lines and lengths he bowled. He bowled consistently on a line, good line and length, and that was brilliant for me. That was amazing to see that someone in our domestic setup can make the step up to Test cricket, because it doesn't matter who we're playing against when it comes to that, because he was hitting the right lines and lengths for this pitch. So whether we played Australia, whether we played England, whether we played India, whether we played New Zealand, it doesn't really matter, because he was hitting the right lines and lengths for this pitch. Now, yes, maybe New Zealand, maybe Australia, maybe England batters, maybe they would have known how to adapt to it a little bit quicker, but ultimately he was hitting the right lines and lengths. So I'm very, very happy about that. Khalid, have you contacted any Proteas players to come to your channel? Please try to bring someone. Ayanda says, can Mulder handle the workload of bowl of bowling 5 or 6 over bowling spells and then be asked to concentrate on his batting with a new ball? I think that needs changing. I felt really bad for him. Well, at the moment, he is doing an okay job. So let's see how he bats tomorrow. I mean, he batted really well today, and that is something that he will have to decide if that's what he wants to do, because he's in control of that ultimately. Tabo says Mulder was good with the ball and Yusuf on debut. I was disappointed by Kwena Maphaka. Let's talk about Kwena Maphaka. Now, Kwena Maphaka is a youngster, and I think that what's happening over here with Kwena is he's extremely quick, and a lot quicker than his people of his own age would have seen. When he was at school, he was probably cleaning up because of that raw pace. It's probably very difficult for a lot of the batters that faced him to like maneuver that. He would have been a quick surprise for a lot of batters, whether they seen you or not. When he came into the domestic setup, he started taking a couple of wickets, and he said 20 as well, took wickets. And it would have been because of the shock towards his real pace at that age. That would have shocked some batters. But once they get used to it, they can kind of adapt their game to it. Now, what Kwena needs to learn is he either needs to learn how to move the ball in the air, or he needs to find a way on how to control his deliveries a lot better, be more consistent on a line and length, force the batter to play, because he will always force the batter to play. But the problem with Kwena is that because of his pace, if he gets his line and lengths wrong, he's going to travel. And that's unfortunate, because any nick or any slight slightly timed, untimed shot is going to go to the boundary if a fielder misses it. So my point here is that he needs to learn consistency of a line and length. He needs to learn another skill and add it to his arsenal, either the ability to be able to move the ball, or to move the ball off the seam, cutters and etc. Those type of things he's going to have to add to his game if he wants to be a lethal bowler for South Africa. There's still time for him to learn. And this is why I stress that he needs to play more red ball cricket. He needs to get used to bowling long spells consistently. When he got his Test debut initially, he hadn't played much first class cricket, and that's the problem with Kwena Maphaka. He needs to play more first class cricket. That's something that he needs to find a way to do. I think that he needs to prioritize that, because I think it will improve his bowling even in T20 cricket. And I think for him, maybe it wasn't maybe a good thing that he has made such a quick transition from school straight into the IPL and the T20 tournaments. He only has 4 first class games to his name and 16 wickets in that time. So there was a surprise factor over there, because 6 of those wickets came in one game. So there was a surprise factor over there when it comes to Kwena Maphaka. And I think that people will start to get used to him once they get to see him. But I think he needs to play more first class cricket. It will improve his game tenfold, because he's only played 4 first class games. He's only played 4 list A games and then 34 T20s already in his young career. So I feel that he needs to play a lot more first class cricket. I think he's been thrown into T20 cricket too soon, and he's been relied upon because of it. And it's great for him, for his pockets, that that's the case. But he needs to prioritize 4-day cricket so that he can learn how to be more consistent with his line and lengths and test batters for long periods. Ayanda says, explain the point Sikandar raised. SA having to bowl to, to 12 batters with a head injury sub. Why couldn't Zim withdraw Bennett runs or not send in the number 11 to make things fair? Because it's not that's the rule. So it's not about being fair. Sarfaz says, how did you find Corbin with the ball, Khalid? I think he did well and was economical. Interesting that Mulder was good with the ball and Corbin with the bat. So who is the better all-rounder? That's the thing that we're going to have to debate and argue about for a long time. Corbin was decently economical today. I have to admit. But you know, we had this talk yesterday, and we spoke about the fact that Corbin is a wicket taker. That's his primarily. That is what he needs to do. But I wanted to see a more economical performance from him, and he was 31 of 9 overs. He bowled a 3.44 economy rate, so he was more economical. I do feel that he could have hit the more dangerous lines and lengths on the pitch so that he could be more he could test the batters a lot more and then have an opportunity to get nick them off or something, or take or for them to take a wicket or something. That could have been the case if he put the ball more in the dangerous areas, but they kind of left him a lot. There were quite a few balls that were that were people left him and found a way how to deal with him without really necessarily scoring off him. Sam says, I'm so happy with Vian Mulder bowling at the moment. He's getting important regular wickets in WTC final. Also, he bowled really well head wicket. Sarfaz says Matthew Breski has stopped opening in the domestic and county cricket, if I'm not wrong. I think he should have come at 4. Yeah, batting players in their natural positions is also important, especially if they haven't been used to doing something for a long time. So Matthew Bretsky is a type of player that will take any challenge on, and that's what I respect about him. He is a very mentally strong player. He made some bad decisions in his first innings and his second innings, and I hope that he gets another opportunity in the second test to show what he can do. I really do hope so. It's a bit disappointing. Justin says, I'm expecting a 50 from both Tony and Mulder. Yeah, that's what we should be expecting from our top order batters. So nothing wrong with that at all. Sam says there should not be any question on Vian and Corbin in squad. Both should be in squad, and it's obvious Vian's first choice. NY Times Square's Mulder contributes in every match, yet people want him out. He is MVP of the team at the moment. Justin says, I still think Mulder at 3 is a wrong decision. Sarfa says, Cody Yusuf has really impressed me with his accurate channel bowling and can bat well too. Can be in consideration for future protest test team selection. And if Corbin Bosch could hit the lines and links and bowl in the channels that Cody can, he'll be lethal. NY Times Square says, since WTC, Mulder has played 40 plus balls in every innings, first soft dismissal, 1 run out, and 1 bowled by Cummins. He isn't bad as people think. Sam Green getting back in from Australia at 3, still getting failed in WTC and West Indies series. What's wrong with Vienna at 3? Why Australia backing him? We also should go with Australian mindset. We should go with our mindset. If that's what Coach Shukri believes, then that's what he should do. And even if we don't agree with it, I respect the decision to stick with Vian. There's something that Coach Shukri sees in him, and I'm willing to give it a chance. As a fan, I'm willing to give it a chance and see what he can do. Quinn is young, but I would still expect a bit more than this. Tabo says Maphaka needs more red ball cricket on his belt, 100%, and that's what I said earlier on. Justin says, so Dane Patterson is now history. I don't think it's, I think, I think that Dane Patterson is maybe thinking about possibly retiring. I think, I don't know for a fact, so don't quote me on that. But it's good to see that we have other bowlers in domestic cricket that are performing that can come through. I mean, at the moment, there's so many to look at that are not even in the squad. You've got the likes of Nandre Berger, you've got the likes of Gerald Coetzee, you have still um, Lizard Williams coming back from injury. Um, we've got a host of bowlers coming through the system, which is brilliant from a South African standpoint. I would like to see how um, Tian, Tristan Loose progresses, how the likes of Tian van Vieren does too. And let's see what happens with a Bayer Swanepoel. It's another option as an all-rounder that has been doing really well in domestic cricket. So when it comes to our bowling, I'm not really worried. I think South Africa have now uh, a nice collection of bowlers that they can pick from. And that is something that is really awesome. What we're going to do with our batting attack and who we're going to select with regards to that going forward is still a slight question. And let's see what happens. Justin says, blessing Marubani deserves more wickets the way he's bowling. Yeah, he's brilliant. I like the way he bowls. Sarfaz Hussain says, I expect the senior players like David and Calvin to step up tomorrow if they get a chance to bat. If Tony and Vian don't bat them out of the game. In my time's case, is Mulder has been third best bowler after Marco and KG since his comeback. There is musical chair for one bowler because of injury. Sarfaz says, I think SA might have the best all-rounders in Test cricket right now. Yeah, at the moment we are producing quite good, quite decent all-rounders, and I'm happy about that because it's a show that we did a long time ago. We spoke about all-rounders, all-rounder depth in South Africa. I think a couple of years ago we were speaking about the lack of that because we were lacking that. But I think our all-rounders are starting to really mature and find their game and settle in their game plans, which is something that I'm really happy about because we were in a period of time where we were maybe lacking some all-rounders and not finding those all-rounders. So it's good to see all of these guys. And there's some youngsters too that are coming through as well. In Watanski, not all-rounder, but best red ball team, batters, bowler, all-rounders, everything. Clock says an honest opinion on Quena is that he just needs proper coaching. He does too much in one over. Yorker, short, back of the length, all of that at once. Coach, him to hit line and length. That's exactly what I'm speaking about. He's bowling like a T20 bowler. And that's because of the lack of exposure to red ball cricket. He needs to see more red ball cricket. The more red ball cricket that Quena Maphaka sees, the better bowler he will be across formats. Doesn't matter what you're talking about, whether it's white ball cricket, whether it's red ball cricket, of course. He needs to play more red ball cricket for the Lions. They need to prioritize that somehow, find a way to fit that into his schedule so that he plays more red ball cricket next season. Because otherwise, what can also happen is if they suddenly just push him into international test cricket and he suddenly starts playing a lot of red ball cricket, they also need to make sure that they manage him from an injury perspective because suddenly the burst will give him, they need to also manage him right with regards to how many spells he bowls, etc. Because they can easily injure someone like him. And it can be terrible and detrimental to his career. And I don't want that to obviously happen from a Quena Maphaka perspective because I feel that this guy has an amazing ability, an incredible ability because of his pace. And they need to find a way on how to utilize him correctly and how to give him more opportunities to play the longest format. Because I feel that the longest format will really develop him as a bowler across all formats because he's also starting to maybe slightly dry up in T20 cricket too, as people are starting to figure him out. So I feel that learning how to play red ball cricket and bowl consistent line and lengths for long periods of time will only benefit a bowler like him. Justin says, I think we should bat all day tomorrow. There's no rush. Yeah, there's no rush. Um, I mean, why not? Um, yeah, why not? If we, I mean, we're only on day three, so. But there's also, you see, there's also a little bit of a worry with that because if we do bat all day and we put a pile of runs, Zimbabwe's approach might be a lot different. They will then automatically assume that the game will be a draw and they'll play a lot more defensive. They won't look to take too many risks. And I know it's hard to survive 2 days of cricket um, out in the middle. So, yeah, I think that approach can also cause problems. But I think South Africa are in the driving seat here. So I don't, whatever we decide to do, I think we should be able to win the game from here. Arjun says, what about Jansen Smith? Is he going to be dropped just like that? But what about Jason Smith? Sorry. Is he going to be dropped just like that? Um, we'll have to see what happens with Jason Smith, to be honest. I don't know. Tabo says, will we see Lutus Palmer return to the setup? Lutus Palmer is an interesting one because, I mean, I feel that Lutus Palmer has an amazing ability to keep a line and length, but he lacks pace. And I think that's the one problem for a bowler like him at his age. Um, if he bowls with the fast paced bowlers that are coming through from a South African standpoint, I feel that he's always going to be slightly behind them in the picking order because of his pace. Because he doesn't necessarily move the ball or he doesn't really add much variation wise. And he doesn't get necessarily steep bounce like a Lungi would get, for example. So it will make it a little bit tricky when it comes to his selection and whether they're going to select him or not. But he's been performing well since his injury. He came back into domestic cricket and he's been bowling well. So let's see if he can continue that. In what times cases should bat till T of day four? I also think till T would be the right move, and then we can utilize that last innings with the new ball, that last session with the new ball, where it's the most dangerous at the end of the game and at the end of the session and at the beginning of at the end of the day's play flip, man. The last session and the first session is the most dangerous with the new ball. So we must utilize that. Uthman Benjamin says the balance in the team is forming nicely. The top three needs a bit of work. And more importantly, not just the balance in the 11 or in the squad. I feel the backups as well are lining up nicely. We are starting to build like a 30-man squad here in a way of test players, which I think is absolutely brilliant from a South African standpoint. We can grow a team and have backups ready if anything happens. Sarfa says Luther will be suited for T20 format. Christian Kutsia says we've got some great bowlers. Tariq Samudin says I like the fact that the different batsmen are getting hundreds and not just relying on one or two batsmen. That's also quite nice, but we want to see more consistency. That's the one thing I want to see from our batters. It would be nice if we can win some games as a collective rather than someone bailing us out. Even though I know that's how test cricket goes, really. A lot of teams have a batter that maybe bails them out in a test match. Christian Kutsia says Nandre Gerald Kutsia. Aryan says, I don't think Andile Semalani is fit to play for SA at all. Even Maphaka is better than him. And also, he doesn't add runs while batting. Also, there's something that's not clicking with the transition from domestic cricket to international cricket for Andile Semalani. And I don't know what that is because he dominates domestic cricket. Um, he really does. Brian Bennett was South Africa. If South Africa South Africa would take him in the team. If Brian Bennett was South Africa, that would take him into the team. Um, that is interesting from that perspective. Yeah, he's a good player. So yeah, And then Clock says, impressed with Cody. He's different in the way he's skiddy and he was threatening throughout. So far, he's the reason I'm not ranting about Bayes Swanepoel not in the squad. I've been always been a fan of Cody Yusuf. He's not only a great bowler and consistent bowler that hits good lines and lengths, um, but he's also a really nice person and guy. And um, I like it when a player can be good at his craft, but also be a good human being and person. Um, there's never been a day where I've not seen him on the field. For example, when the Lions player or he's part of a squad and he sees me and he doesn't come up and talk to me and say hi at least. So he's a nice person as well, on top of being a good player. Arjun says pick one, kick one. Tabo says Milan doesn't play enough. He said 20 matches. He needs to switch teams and Yusuf too. Wesley says second test. Who doesn't Gidi come in for, Maphaka or Cody Yusuf? Tough choice. Probably would be for Maphaka, but I'd maybe rest a Mulder. Maybe I'll maybe rest a Mulder and then play all the newer guys in the second test. And maybe some of the senior guys that didn't perform in this first test. In my time screen, Khalid, have you realized Rickerton looks like Cody Rhodes? Yes, I have realized that. I put up a little video actually on our Instagram with that. And Rickerton actually saw it. So yeah, I put it up on the Instagram because I mentioned someone mentioned it in the comments before, and then I mentioned it on a live stream, and then I cut that clip and I said, "Yeah, he actually does look like it." And then I played the Cody Road soundtrack as well. So yeah, I put that video up on our Instagram account. Arjun says, "Pick one, kick one, Gerald or Nandre, Dane Patterson or Vian." You guys want to give me difficult decisions over here? Eish. For me, I'll pick Nandre because of the left arm, the pace, and the movement that he gets. Vian for me over Dane Patterson for now because of the batting ability. Sarfar says, I want to see how Senekwani plays in the second test. That's something I really want to see. Yes, Senekwani needs to play the next test as well. I would like to see that. Wesley says, is Coleman's boss good enough to bat in the top seven? Could he be a batting all-rounder? Um, I think he can just be an all-rounder, not a batting or bowling all-rounder. I think he can just be a genuine all-rounder. I think that's what Corbin Bosch's ability. He has that ability in him to just be a genuine all-rounder. So I think that you should try and, as he gets older, you should try to push for that. Tariq Samuddin says, who's our next Keshaf? I'm hoping it's going to be Bjorn. Because I think Bjorn has that a strong mental ability, and I think he can still improve a lot with his spinning. And I know he's open to learn. But that's going to be a very difficult one. To replace Keshav Maharaj is going to be probably one of the hardest decisions that South Africa is going to have to make. And thank you for raising that question, because it's a bloody good one. Because that is one of the hardest decisions that South Africa is going to have to make, and the toughest ones, because there aren't many spinners like Keshav in the system that are as good as him. They're looking at Senaran, they're looking at Sabrian, they're looking at Bjorn, perhaps George Linder. They're going to have to make a decision on who's going to replace him, because that is a very hard player to replace. Him and KG are going to be pretty tough to replace. Sarfar says, I think it would be Mutasami or Sabrayan in place of Keshav. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to smash the like button, comment, share, and subscribe, and click that notification bell for all future videos. Smash the like button and leave your comment section in the comment section below after we've ended the stream. It's very important that you please do that so that our streams and our shows can go and spread far and wide on YouTube in the algorithm. So get involved with the like button, smash it, and get involved with the comment section after we ended the stream. Thanks a lot, everybody, for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll speak to you guys very, very soon, or actually tomorrow, for another review show. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your evening.